Okay, so I'm live, right? Can someone just confirm whether I'm live or not quickly? Because I don't know, like, I can't even see like how many people are watching this at this moment. Okay, so I'm audible, right? Okay. But not much people are over here. I don't know why. I think the light is not proper, right? Now I think it's better. Okay, anyways, so I'll just wait for a few minutes so that people can gather up. And then I'll just move on with the video because like, I need a little bit of audience at least, right? I can see there are 2 likes, but still no one over here. Maybe a glitch from my side also. Anyways, like I think we can start with the video, okay? I think we can start with the. Okay, so let's start with the video, okay? The first problem. Yeah, okay. Skibidus and Amog'u. What does this problem tell us? The problem is all about the fact that you are given the root of the noun that is transcribed as s. The two forms are transcribed as singular and plural, that is normal English. So the singular is it ends with us, and the plural it ends with I. So what we have to do is for every word that is given over here, it ends with us. We have to make it end with I. That is, you have to replace the us with I. Simple. I don't think I need to explain this, but still, like, yeah, I need to explain this. So let's say you're having a word X, Y, Z. Okay, it is getting a little bit time to load, and then after that, if you're getting a us, which means it's the plural. So what you can do is you can remove the last two elements and replace it with a I. Okay, that is what we have to do. If you want to go through the code once, surely I can walk you down through the code quickly. Just take away the last two elements and add a I to it, and you'll get the answer. Okay. Considering the fact that this was a very simple problem, so I won't ask anyone that whether you guys have any problem or not. I'll just move on to B quickly. Okay. Skibidus and Ohio. Skibidus is given a string S that consists of lowercase Latin letters. If S contains more than one letter, he can do a few number of experiments. That is, you can choose element element at index I, such that if S of I and S of I plus 1 both are equal, then he can replace S of I with any lowercase Latin letter, and he can remove S of I plus 1. So what is the minimum possible length he can achieve through any number of operations? Okay, good. What does it mean? Basically means that, let's say, if he's having A, B, C, C, D, E, F. So this C, C, he can remove the last C and replace this with any other letter, okay, any other letter of his choice. So what is the letter of his choice that he should be replacing it with? According to me, what I feel is that if he is going to remove this C, then he should be filling this with B, okay, so that he can remove this B also, because the main motive is to remove that B, right? Now he can remove this B also. because it is similar. Now he can change this B, and he can make it A. Now he can also remove this A, and he can change this A to D, so that he can remove this D. Then he can change this D to E, so that he can remove this E. After that, he can change this E to F, so that he can remove this F. Okay. So basically, if you notice one thing, that if there is at least one specific position where the two consecutive elements are same, so in that case we can say one thing, that the whole string can be reduced to a length of 1. But if that is not the condition, it can't be reduced only, right? If that is not the condition, what do I mean by that? So let's say if it was A B C D E F, nothing is repeated. Okay, nothing is repeated consecutively, which means that I can't replace it. So the problem statement, I mean the answer is very simple. If at any position you find that this satisfies, the answer is going to be 1. If at none position it satisfies, the answer is going to be n. What do I mean by that? Just walk through the whole solution. If at any position you find that s of I and s of I minus 1 or s of I plus 1, or either ways, you can check for it. If both of them are equal, so the answer is going to be 1. Simple and easy enough. And if it is not so, the answer is going to be n. Clear? Works for you guys? Let's move to C. Skibidus and Fanum Tax. So basically, I think I couldn't do up with D. No, I did D. I couldn't do up with E. Okay. So C1 and C2, both of them are similar problem. Okay. Now since C1 and C2 are the similar problem, so what I'll do is I explain C1, the question, and then I will go to the harder version and explain that question and get into the harder version of the whole problem, because that is a better approach to do, right? So this is the easy version of the problem, Skibidus and Fanum Tax, easy version. Skibidus has obtained two arrays A and B containing n and m elements respectively. For each integer I from 1 to n, he is allowed to perform the operation at most once. Okay, he can perform the operation at most once for every specific element. What is it? He can set A of I as B of j minus A of I. Now the thing is that it is up to him. Okay, it is up to him what he is going to do. Like, he can set it up, he can decide that he won't be setting it up. Okay, it's up to him. What he has to do, what he has to find is, after doing like the operations that he has already done, whether the array now is sorted or not, whether he can make the array sorted or not. That is the aim of us. Okay, so over here, if we go for some example, so let's say 311433. Now see, what is the easy version tells us that m is equal to 1, which means that b of j, this b of j over here, it will be b of 0, because j, there is only one possible value of j, that is 0. Okay, 0 or 1 if you are indexing it at 1. If you are indexing it normally as array in any programming language, it's 0. Clear? So this number is fixed. Okay, now remember one thing, we have to make it descending. So what we can do is the greedy approach. I'll just explain the C1 only, okay, then I'll move on to C2. So what the greedy approach tells us is that, let's say if we are having an array over here, okay, now whatever the first element is, let's say the first element is x, so we can either keep that element as x or b of 0, right? B of 0 is what we had earlier. I mean, not what we had earlier. B of 0 is something that is the only element of B. So it can be either x or b of 0 minus x. So what is the best approach? What is the greedy approach to make it? Since the first element, we can make it as small as possible so that we can maintain the condition of sorting it. Okay, we have to maintain the condition of sorting it. So we have to make it as small as possible. So whichever is going to be the minimum value, we are going to make it that. Okay, clear? Now see, we are done with this position. Okay, now we are going to go to the next position. Now what does this position needs to be? It is the minimum value that should be greater than the red zone, greater than equal to also. Okay, it is the minimum value that should be greater than equal to the red zone. So what this value can be, it can be either again the same thing. So let's say now it is y, so it can be y or b of 0 minus y. So a very simple thing, check among these two which is minimum. So if this is minimum, then check if this condition is satisfying or not. If this condition satisfies, so keep it y. Otherwise, if that condition is not satisfying, then you have to check for this also. And if for this also this condition satisfies, then we have to keep this only. And for none of them, if this condition satisfies, so we can say that it is not possible. That is the condition that we have to print, that it is not possible. That is no. Okay, otherwise you have to go on doing it. Otherwise you have to go on doing it like this. Like you move on doing it. Okay, for this, for the next position, do it like this. So basically I think it will be better if I walk you through the code. Initially we can say it's a yes. This is the basically the inputs. You don't need to think about it. I mean, you don't need to go through it. So now what we are going to do is we are going to check for the remaining elements, and over there we are going to check whether ARR of I mean which is minimum. Okay, as I was telling you that over here, as I was telling you, is this minimum or this minimum? Okay, so that is the condition that we are going to check. So if this is minimum, and if this is lesser than equal to AR of I, so we can say it's a continuum because we don't have to change anything, right? Otherwise, what we have to do is we have to make it AR of I BR of 0 minus AR of I. Okay, but what if none of them are greater than equal to the previous number? In that case, the answer is directly a no and break out of it, and the answer is no. Okay, clear? And for this, so we have done it. And else also, the else way also the same thing works out. Just the difference is that over here you were going for AR of I at the beginning. Now you're going to go for BR of 0 minus AR of I at the beginning. Okay, the reverse thing basically, because whichever is going to be the minimum, we know that we are going for a greedy approach. So whichever is going to be the minimum, we have to check for it first. Okay, clear? This is a basic walkthrough of the code. I think it is clear for you guys. Okay. So now comes the harder version of this problem. C2, Skibidus and Fanum Tax. The same thing, like if you're watching it in a recorded version, I'll prefer you to go to the explanation of the previous problem that I just explained and then come back to this, okay? Because this condition tells us that m is lesser than equal to 2 into 10 to the 5, which means that this 0 that we were fixing, okay, it is not fixed. It is j. How can we find the value of j? More than that, what is important is what should be the value of b of j? What should be the ideal value of b of j? Okay, what should be the ideal value? Now see one thing. We know that if y satisfies, it is well and good. We are okay with it, right? If y satisfies, we are well and good with it. But what if y doesn't satisfy the condition that is of greater than equal to? So this b of j minus y has to satisfy. Now since we are going for a greedy approach, the same thing, not like nothing that out of the box. Okay, this is almost the same thing. Now since this is something that we have to consider, we have to go into our consideration, that is b of j minus I should satisfy the condition considering that y has failed. Okay, You know that y may not have failed also, but still you have to consider that y has failed. So let's say b of j minus y, it should be lesser than equal to x. Okay, b of j minus y lesser than equal to x. Now what is y? I think I'll just replace y and x. Y is basically a of I, and x is basically a of I minus 1. Okay, yeah, okay. So a of I minus 1. Now what is the value of b of j? It should be lesser than equal to a of I plus a of I minus 1. Right? This is what the mathematics tells us. I think it won't be visible for you, so I'll just move it over here. Okay, now it is visible. So b of j, that is the thing. Now since it has to be lesser than equal to this, I made a mistake over here. Okay, I made a mistake over here. This green thing, this won't be greater than equal to, it will be lesser than equal to. Okay, and similarly, this will be greater than equal to, this will be greater than equal to. Let me just rewrite it. Greater than equal to, this will be greater than equal to. Okay, clear? Like, because yeah, I have to make it descending, ascending only. Okay, I was making it descending. Now since we are done with this, so we can find out a specific knowledge out of it, that since we have to make it as minimum as possible, right? The value should be as minimum as possible. So we have to try make the value to be a of I plus a of I minus 1. Okay, we have to try making the value of b of j as that. But in case if we can't make it, we have to take the element which is just greater than that, either equal to that or the element that is just greater than that. Now how can we find it out from b of j? How can we find out for which value of j this satisfies? Simple, because whenever you find that something which is just greater than something in array, it has to be binary search. Okay, that is, let's say if your array of b, it is sorted out, okay, and you're going to find for a value of b of j, so you can just binary search them and find out at which position it occurs. But if it doesn't occur at any position, that is, it is somewhere over here out of the box, it is somewhere over here out of the box, in that case you can directly say it's a minus 1. I mean, it's a no. Okay, simple, similar to the previous thing. Okay, I'll just walk you through the code so that you guys understand what I mean. See, the need means b of j, what the b of j should be. Okay, need is this plus this, and if I find that the last element of BRR, it is lesser than the need, which means that the need is out of the box, in that case we can directly say that's a no, right? But why did I do this thing, this continue thing? This is because, like, if y is valid, right? I also mentioned one thing, that if y is valid, okay, over here only, if y is valid, we don't need to take any tension only. It's done. So we also have to consider that situation, that if y is valid, then continue, it's okay, we are good with it. Otherwise, the answer is no. Sorry, we can't do anything. We can't proceed any longer than this. यही तक अपना सफर था, खत्म करो. Okay, so int l is equal, this is normal binary search. You can like go through what I have done. So the specific element just where it is greater than equal to the need, we are going to make it the result. Okay, that is what we are going to aim for. And then the situation is also very simple, that is either AR of I will be AR of I or result minus AR of I, right? But we are going to consider AR of I only if that specific y is valid. Okay, remember the y that I was talking about, that if that y is valid, then only we are going to consider that. That is, if AR of I is greater than equal to AR of I minus 1, and this result, this thing is greater than equal to this, then only we are going to consider both of them. Otherwise, AR of I is equal to result minus AR of I. Okay, clear? Because over here we can't consider AR of I, because that is not, I mean, that is not a valid thing, because over here AR of I, it is already lesser than AR of I minus 1. So we can't consider that. So we have to forcefully go for the result. That is, we have to forcefully take the value from BRR. That is, we have to forcefully apply the operation. Okay? And after that, you can just simply say that what is the answer. Done. Nothing else. Right? Clear? Easy peasy. Okay. So this is y minus x. Let's go with Skibidus and Sigma. What does this mean? Now, if you want a proof of this, okay, so let me explain you the question, what it means. Let's denote the score of an array B with k elements. Don't go through it. Okay, I'll just explain you what he means over here. Because like questions, the way it appears, it is like too difficult for you to understand, right? I don't know why these things didn't get erased out. Okay, now it is okay. Now see, what the question basically tells is, you're given a few number of arrays, okay, of the same length. Okay, of the same length, you're given some arrays. What you can do is, you can take away one array, take away another array, then take away another array, and you're going to concatenate all of them. Okay, and what you have to do is, after concatenation, you have to maximize the whole score. Okay, you have to maximize the whole score. What is the score of the array? The score of the array is basically the sum of all the prefix sums. What does that mean? So if the sum of this is S1 and sum of the first two numbers is S2 and sum of the first three numbers is S3, and till over here the sum of the first k numbers is S of k, so in that case the total score is S1 plus S2 plus S3 plus dot 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 plus Sk. Okay, I think I forgot to follow myself. Okay, S1 plus S2 plus S3 plus dot 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 Sk. Now since you know one thing, that we are done with this S of k, so we can simplify the formula out there. Since you can see one thing, that the first element, it will be added k times, the second element, it will be added k minus 1 times. So one thing that we can make out surely out of this is the fact that it is a very greedy approach, it is a very good approach in with respect to the greedy solution. That is, the first element should be the largest, because it will be used the maximum number of time. The second element to be the second largest, so because it will be used second most number of time. Okay, because we have to make the frequency, whenever we find that our specific number is going to have a better frequency, so we have to give that specific value as maximum as possible to make the whole score maximum. How to do it? Or now let's go back to the previous thing that we were discussing, that is, there are a lot of arrays over here. Okay, what you can do is, you can sort this arrays on the basis of their sum. Okay, because over here, if you know one thing, so let me just summarize this whole thing. Okay, so let's say this is the concatenation of all the arrays, and there is one array over here, one array over here, one array over here, and one array over here. Since all the arrays are of the same length, we can consider this arrays as a singular number also, a singular number with a specific sum. So what is the best approach to do? The best approach is to put the array with the maximum sum at the beginning. Okay, put the array with the maximum sum at the beginning, the second maximum sum at the second position, the third maximum at the third position, and so on. Clear? After that, you just go for it. And it is as simple as that. If you want, I can walk you through the code. The code is till over here. I think I was taking the inputs. Yeah, what I'm doing is I'm going to pair it up. Okay, whatever sum I get for every specific pair, I'm going to pair that sum with the specific position of that, and then I'm going to sort it out in descending order. And whatever the positions that I'm getting, I'm going to put them in the concatenated array. Okay, once I put it in the concatenated array, what I can do is I can find out the result. This is not needed, this is a commented outline. I can, since I just told you one thing, that the first element is going to be used n k number of times, the second element k minus 1 number of times. So over here, since there were m arrays of n size each, so what is the total number of elements in the concatenated array? It is m into n, right? So the first element will be m into n number of times. The second element will be m into n minus 1 number of times. And we know the first element I is 0, for second it is 1, and so on. Okay. So we can have a simplified approach and like get the arithmetic value of it. Okay. Clear? Now before going to D, what I would like to tell you is the fact that I didn't get the E answer right. Wrong answer, maximum balance is not 7, test case 14. Okay, test case 14. What does this say? Test case 2. What does this say? Test case 14. Okay, so one fails at test case 2, one fails at test case 14. And actually I think the test case 14 is the one that should be valid. But since I think that there is not much people today in the live stream watching this, because the response is very low. But anyways, like people, whoever is watching this or will be watching this at a later point, I will request you guys to subscribe. And since it is also quite late night, you can see it's 10:49. Okay, so I think I'll end the stream over here. I will explain later on. Okay, I mean, even I haven't coded it out, but yeah, I'll explain it later. Okay, well, like if you guys want a rating of all the problems, because I usually do that. Easy, medium, hard. Okay. Mm, the first problem was this. The second problem was this. C1, C2, D. Okay. A is easy. B was a little. No, B was also. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, bro. B was also easy only. C1 was kind of a little bit. I will go for medium. Okay. And mm, sorry. And I will say that C2 was medium. No, it's like, yeah, C2 was perfectly medium, and D was medium only, and E, as much as I have figured it out, it is somewhere between hard and medium. Rather, I will just rate it hard only, because like I'm not going to consider the remaining of the problem. So yeah, E was hard. So anyways, that's it from my side. Thank you for, I mean, like, not much people joined actually, but how many I did? I did 5 problems. Not much. No. I did 5 problems. The sixth one, like, I don't know what was going wrong with it. Yeah, nice. Yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 11, 24, 7. I have to go through this. Okay, I have to go through the E. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you guys for joining. Good night. Radhe Radhe.